The next one, visualizing and clustering blockers. So if you think about when we saw the diagram of the upstream versus downstream boards, we visualize, if you're using Kanban, we visualize our blockers. We make them very, very obvious to everybody. We escalate, we tackle the blockers. And what we've got here is an example where, so what we used to do, when you unblocked a ticket, we used to take the blocker sticker off and rip it up and put it in the bin and go, yay, that feels good. We've delivered that now. We've unblocked it. But what we now do is we keep the blocker sticker. We put it in an envelope at the end of the board, and every couple of weeks we'll kind of get all our blockers out, or what we've had. We'll lay them out in the following way. We'll maybe categorize, cluster them by external or internal. We might measure for how big an impact did that have? How much waiting time was that particular work item blocked for? And then we can maybe put that in the y-axis. So the ones down at the bottom here, they were quite short-term blocked. The ones at the top were more long-term blocked. But what we can do from this is look for patterns. We can start to problem solve. If we can see the same group of people blocking us constantly, then we can really kind of work on managing that dependency and reducing that. By the way, these two images were given me with the kind permission of Klaus Leopold and Troy McGuinness, who really pioneered this blocker clustering technique. Here's another way that you can manage blockers as well, or dependencies. So you kind of, in the y-axis, you place your blocker sticker as to how often does it happen, what's the frequency of getting blocked. And in the x-axis, you say, well, what was the impact once it was blocked in the number of days it incurred in delay? And what you'll see is a group, obviously the quadrant in the top right is you want to get things out of there. So the idea here is you move the blocker stickers either left, you take action, which will result in the blocker stickers moving left if it occurred again, or you take action to move them down. It's really hard to move them down and left at the same time. So focus on one, so go left first, and then focus on bringing it down. All right. And this kind of links into that whole thing of, do you break the dependency or do you manage the dependency? So bringing it down is breaking the dependency. Bringing it left is managing the impacts on flow, because you're reducing the delay time once it happens. Right, number 4, reduce systemic WIP. Now, I've just been running a portfolio Kanban training course this morning with a really good cohort of attendees from the UK government, so one of the departments in the UK government. And we were laying out their portfolio. And what we found was they've just got too many projects in progress. Now, that's not such a surprise, eh? I think it's a common thing. We have too many projects in progress. And we visualize our portfolio boards in however way we do that. But each of these green tickets link to a team or across teams, and they basically explode out into hundreds of tickets, because the visualization at a portfolio level is just a single project or a feature, or however you want to describe that. So what we need to do, we need to break that dependency by reducing the amount of projects we have in progress. Because if we do that, we move to something like this. Now, if you look at the team boards, there's less work in progress. And going back to those Kanban fundamentals of Little's Law, and the less work we have in progress, the quicker we will go, we will increase our throughput and we will deliver quicker and, more importantly, more predictably. Because in this world where we're just completely overrun, it's not great. So again, we can break that dependency, but that takes a lot of courage, and it takes action at the portfolio level. Right, the next one. We need to monitor and reduce systemic waiting time. So if you think about when you hand off, you've got a blocker sticker here, which means we block by this team here. We hand off and it sits in their backlog for, well, in this case, 187 days before they finally pick it up. And actually, even when it goes into play, maybe it sits there for 34 days waiting for a tester to become available, or maybe they're blocked by another downstream team. So again, we need to develop techniques and ways of measuring the systemic wait time. Remember systems thinking? the idea that we look at your organization as an end-to-end system. And if you try to optimize any one part of the system, in most cases, you sub-optimize the whole. So let's really focus on how we kind of, reduce waiting time end to end. And again, we do that by looking at data. We look at the cycle time histograms that we get from this, and we look to trim the tail. All right. By the way, I'm hoping there'll be time at the end of a question so we can come back to any of these.